Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Good evening, all. Thank you all for coming. Hope you're all doing well. I can't say today is a very good day. It's actually probably a really crap day, considering what has just occurred in the last few hours, and we will be going through that momentarily, guys. I think this is pretty much what's been happening in the comments is pretty much going to be the whole subject of tonight. I would not be surprised, to say the least. So before we dive into it, guys, and before I greet you all in the chat, I'm just going to ask you guys in the poll there, should Lindsay Hoyle, the speaker, go after tonight? Yes, no, or don't know. I put don't know in just in case people come in and don't know exactly what's going on. I will explain as we go along. So far, 13 votes, 62% say yes, 15% say no, 23% of you don't know, because it's not everyone is familiar with it. So I'm just going to quickly say hello to everyone in the chat and crack right on with it. So Akismag, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Suzanne is here as well. Good evening. Mark Lees, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jao is here as well. Good evening, Jao. Good to see you as always. Thank you always for your support. Number 3 is here, guys. Check out Number 3's YouTube channel whenever you get the chance. Joe Lefty Boater is here as well. Reg, good to see you as well. 91 Lees is here as well. Good to see you all. Hope you're all doing well. Right, so before I go into the topic, so let me explain what's been happening today for those who are not familiar. So obviously today we were supposed to have the SNP motion calling obviously the debate about the debate about the motion for calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now the debate obviously was about what type of ceasefire it was supposed to be. So originally there was the SNP's motion, then there was a Labour motion, and there was a government motion. I'm still trying to get my head around it, so please feel free to correct me in the chat, while I'm trying to get this together. So what's happened here is that what was originally supposed to be, there was supposed to be originally 3 motions. This was found out today. There was supposed to be 3 motions. Originally it was supposed to be 2, and then something changed. The government pulled their motion on the ceasefire out, and then subsequently the speaker put the SNP in an impossible situation where their motion would essentially become null and void if Labour's motion had passed, which is just absolutely insane, when this day was supposed to be about the SNP's motion here, regardless of the Conservatives or Labour. And there's obviously rumours and rumblings that Sir Keir Starmer here has kind of blackmailed, allegedly, something to do with the speaker in keeping him in power. But I don't think that's the case. I genuinely don't think that's the case, and I'll explain as time as time goes on. So we had a position where I was listening to it, and we're going to go through I've got quite a lot of clips online, and I'm trying to grab as many clips as I can before I went live, guys, just to get us around it. But the speaker has absolutely lost it, and I'm not a Scottish person, but I believe in democracy. I believe everyone should have their say. And what Lindsay Hoyle did to the SNP in this was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. And we're actually going to listen to his speech in full. I have managed, luckily, a clip of the full speech came on Twitter within the last 10-15 minutes, so we're going to listen to the full speech in full. So for those who hadn't listened to the speech, but tonight it is like, Vladimir Putin and Russia are laughing right now. They are laughing at Britain. It's been pretty shit for Britain. Yeah, it's democracy, it's politics. I think tonight was a really dark day. The argument that Lindsay Hoyle was trying to make, and we're going to go straight to his speech. The argument that he was trying to make is that he was trying to protect Labour MPs and he was trying to do in the best interest of the House. Clearly, that did not work. It's just really bad. Let's just go right. So let's just listen to the let's listen to it here, guys. So this is the speech from Lindsay Hoyle when he returned to the House. And obviously I'll cut off as it passes, but an absolute shithousery of a day, guys.
I wish to respond to the point of order raised by the leader. I wish to respond to the point raised by the Leader of the House. Today's debate was exceptional in its intensity with which all parties wished to secure a vote on their own propositions. It took the decisions which were intended to allow the House the widest range of propositions, widest range of propositions on which to express a view. I wanted to do the best, and it was my wish. It was my wish to do the best by every member of this House. I take.
And how exactly does denying the SNP's motion suit the best interests of the House? This felt like a complete snub to the SNP. That's what this felt like.
Very seriously. No. The danger is that that's why I wanted everybody to be able to express. Because I am very, very concerned about the security of all members.
Now, this point I wanted to really put in, guys, because I know many of us are suspecting that there is some kind of blackmail allegedly by Keir Starmer on the Speaker here. Now, let's be absolutely clear. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know. But what we do know is there are a lot of Labour MPs, whether we agree or disagree about their positions on the conflict in Gaza, there are a lot of them under a shit ton of pressure from their constituencies on this very subject. Yeah, we know that. We know that they're under that. Pagan, let me explain something, okay? Their motion was going to be amended by Labour's, which means that their motion was going to be nulled and void. It wouldn't be the motion that they wanted, Pagan. That was the problem here. That was the problem. It should have been, it was supposed to be their amendments. It was not supposed to be Labour's here. Now, just to my important point here. Now, there is a very real possibility that what he is saying is true here on the concerns and the well-beings of many Labour MPs and other MPs on this very sensitive topic, which I know everyone is extremely hot-headed about, including myself. Like you guys, I'm extremely concerned about what's happening in Gaza. And what we do know is that Labour are trying to save themselves from, when they eventually go into government, not get cast aside by Benjamin Netanyahu, because we know that's what this is about from their point of view. Mark, you are absolutely 100% right. There should have been a free vote. I think it's absolutely outrageous that a free vote was not given. I think that's absolutely outrageous that a free vote was not given. But this was also a part of Keir Starmer and those certain people in Keir Starmer's party, the shadow government, certain members of the shadow government, they know that when they go into power, they do not want to be on the wrong side of Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government. We know that. We know that. And this is playing a huge part in it, and also the amendments of the wordings and the phrasings that the SNP are putting in their motion. That is the reason why Labour do not want that certain member, why Sir Keir Starmer doesn't want to back it. Whether you agree or disagree, this is the issue. Okay. Now I generally am concerned about the well-being and the safety of many MPs. We had a story. We've had stories last year about we've had MPs who have lost their lives. Yeah, we've had in several years. You know, the history of MPs. You know, we have had not too long ago last year. We had one MP who is stepping down because they set his office on fire because of disagreements of his policies. Yeah. And we do have to take that seriously, guys. We have to take that seriously. Whether what Lindsay Hoyle was saying is true or not, whether he's being blackmailed or not, we don't know, allegedly. But we do have to take that into account on this. And I think that's really, really important.
Let me just take this through. I was very concerned, I am still concerned, and that's why the meetings I've had today is about the security.
You spoke with Keir Starmer, but you didn't speak with Stephen Flynn. That was something I saw battered around as well, previously as well, which is another issue as well. Why he speak to Keir Starmer and not Stephen Flynn when the motions were there? And also, here's the other thing. Where's Keir Starmer on all this?
Security of members, their families, and the people that are involved. And I've got to say, I regret how it's ended up. It was not my intention. I wanted all to ensure they could express their views and all sides of the House could vote. As it was, in particular, the SNP were ultimately unable to vote on their proposition. I am, and I regret, with my sadness, that it's ended up on like that, in this position. That was never my intention for it.
Then why did you let it be this way? You didn't have to let it go this way.
To end up like this. I was absolutely convinced that the decision was done with the right intentions. I recognise the strength of feeling of members on this issue. Clear today has not shown the House at its best. I will reflect on my...
No shit!
I will reflect on my part in that of the course I recommit myself to ensuring that all members of this House are treated fairly. I do not want it to have ended like this. I want to say to the House, I will meet with all the key players of each party. I think it is right that I meet with each one, and that... Can I just put that correct? I've never met with Sue Gray today. I didn't bump into her today. I'm offended by that comment. I think you'd like to withdraw it. Yeah, because that is the danger, that we've ended up with a social speculation of not what is fact and not factual. I am honest to this House. I am true to this House. I believe in all members of this House. And I have tried to do what I thought was the right thing for all sides of this House. It is regrettable, and I apologise for a decision that didn't end up in the place that I wished for. So I would say no. I say no. I will meet with all the... Just be quiet, please. I will meet with the leaders.
He's a goner. And Mad Monk just said, breaking news, Tory MPs table in a motion, no confidence in the Speaker of the House. Yeah, he's gone. He knows he's gone. He screwed up and he has to go. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in total agreement. Well, hello, Mad Monk. And everyone else who has come in. If I haven't said hello to you, hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
And with the Chief Whips, and let us have a discussion on what is the best way forward to try and ensure that, and I say again, I thought I was doing the right thing and the best thing, and I regret it and I apologise for how it's ended up. I do take responsibility for my actions, and that's why I want to meet. And that's why I want to meet with the key players who have been involved. Leader of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Just before we hear from Penny Mordaunt, who doesn't carry a sword properly, I'm just going to have a quick look at some of you guys' comments, because I know it's regret, BS hold. Yep, all evil needs in silence. It is a very crap day, Joe. This is ridiculous. It has been a crap. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this whole thing is ridiculous, Pagan. If I'm honest. You are correct. This was about Labour saving face. It certainly looks that way, David. It certainly looks that way. Anything to avoid talking about the word that I've been avoiding using until last weekend, weapons of mass destruction. Yet another example of how waste mods has total disdain for us Scots. SNP and the Scots have every right to be angry over this. This should have been I've read that. This should have been a free vote. Yeah, I think he felt threatened by his peers. Might have been in doubt if he didn't do what he was asked, says Ben Shaw. This is what makes me to suspect Tory games being played here. Well, there are one or two tweets we're going to look at after this speech as well. There's a lot to cover here. He's been nobbled, says David. Will the SNP vote with the Tories on this? We're going to look at the final ones here. True, Reganelite, if he let it run as it was, this wouldn't have happened. He has deflated on democracy from a great height. Yeah, it is. Very interesting wording from Penny Mordaunt here. And the thing is that I do think the Tories are playing a little bit of fiddle here as well. I do think the Tories are playing a bit of fiddle in this all as well. Just because they siding with in the SNP not allowing to have their motion as well. I think that's an important point. But let's just hear what she had to say.
For coming to the House, for saying that you will reflect on what has happened today, for offering your apologies and to meet with members of this House. You're our Speaker, and we wish you to defend the rights of all members of this House. And I thank you for recommitting yourself to those responsibilities today and for coming to the floor of the House.
And you're not going to add anything else? That's it?
Just to respond to that, that is why I tried to do that in the first place. It ended up in the wrong place. And I do say I apologise to all, and in particular to the SNP. And I say it's not where I wanted, it is where I am. I will now leave it at that for the moment, but I do want to meet as soon as possible. Point of order, Stinkley.
Here, if you haven't seen this already, watch him get roasted. And he absolutely deserves this.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Can I firstly begin by echoing your sentiments in relation to the debate that was had in this chamber in relation to the most important of matters with regards to the safety of civilians in Gaza and indeed those in Israel. There has been a difference of view in the House today, but I think that difference of view has been expressed in a way which we can all agree has been in a positive fashion, in the best fitting way of any democracy, any functioning democracy. Mr. Speaker, whilst I acknowledge your apology, the reality is that you were warned by the clerks of the House that your decision could lead to the SNP not having a vote on our very own opposition day. As a result, we have seen the SNP opposition day turn into a Labour Party opposition day.
This is the problem. This was supposed to be the SNP's opposition day, not Labour's. This is what was wrong today. It should have been about their opposition, not Labour's.
I'm afraid that that is treating myself and my colleagues in the Scottish National Party with complete and utter contempt. And I will take significant convincing that your position is not now intolerable.
To respond to that, and quite rightly, I understand the feeling. As I said, I would like to have that conversation in private. I would like to meet with you as soon as possible.
Can have a guess, yeah. I would love to have been an ear buzzer in that room with Sir Lindsay Hoyle.
I'm now going to leave it to continue. Sorry. Point of order. No, come.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I just make a point of order that actually the amendment in the name of the Leader of the Opposition was this evening passed unanimously, and therefore, yes, it was.
Excuse me, this was not about your...
And therefore...
Order. I don't think now is the time. And what I want to do, I want to move on and I want to meet with the important players.
Anyway, that's kind of it, and then he just moves away. So, yeah. So there was Lindsay Hoyle shooting himself in the foot. I'm just going to share this with you guys as well. So this obviously was where is it? This is the this was earlier on, guys, when the Speaker was nowhere to be seen and the SNP were in an impossible situation. Understandably, Stephen was not happy.
For that. Madam Deputy Speaker, if I have listened correctly to what has just been said, on SNP Opposition Day, should the Labour Party's motion be carried, then the SNP's vote will not be held.
There's the problem. There is the problem. I know I have Labour supporters here, but this is the problem. That's not right, and you know it's not right. Yeah, whether you agree or disagree, it's not democratic in any way, shape or form, and this is a problem.
Secondly, if I have read the clerk's letter to all members correctly, which was sent to the Speaker, this was a consequence that he was warned of.
And he knew about it as well. Labour have little understanding of what was right and wrong. It was an SNP opposition day. That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point here. And I'm sorry, but Keir Starmer is going to have a lot of questions to answer here. He has a lot of questions to answer here. And yes, Labour have gotten away with this, but in no way, shape or form is this fair on the SNP in any way, shape or form. This is not fair on them. And what's really infuriating, guys, is that they all want a blimmin' ceasefire, but it's simply the text of it. Because we have party members who want to condemn Israel, and in my opinion, they should be condemned for their actions. We have a Conservative Party who, well, we already know how they feel. They don't want to, they have their own version of a ceasefire. But believe it or not, we actually had. I was listening earlier. I don't know if I've got the clip in the bookmark here, but there was a clip of one or two Conservative MPs actually saying that they needed to vote for the SNP's motion, not their own, not Labour's, but the SNP's motion, because of the situation that they are in with their constituencies. That's how crazy this day has been. And there are so many points of order with the Deputy Speaker here. It's just absolutely insane.
So can you please advise me, where on earth is the Speaker of the House of Commons? How do we bring him to that seat to explain, how do we bring him to this House now to explain to the Scottish National Party why our views and our votes in this House are irrelevant to him?
And obviously she just ruffles on with her usual wording, but I've felt for Stephen Flynn there. I really felt for Stephen Flynn there. It was such a really powerful from him. I just want to read this. I will come to that super chat and you guys in the chat in just a moment. Carol Vorderman speaking common sense. Disgraceful and politics seem to be two words that go together nowadays. This system of politics is absolutely broken and we've paid the price. Now Hoyle apologises. Well, that's not going to change anything there. This was earlier on.
Not good.
Perfectly legitimate views on different sides as to the propriety of today's proceedings. However, I would just...
Don't pay attention to too much to what's being said. Watch.
Say gently to some honourable members opposite who have said that you cannot possibly have an opposition day motion being amended by another opposition party, that some of the members who are shouting the loudest
they're not showing it, but what's happening as he's speaking, the SNP are walking out in protest, and rightfully so. And even some Conservatives were walking out at this time. That's how crazy it was. Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. It is absolutely shambolic. And I don't blame the SNP whatsoever at that moment of time earlier, before the speaker. I don't blame it at that time whatsoever. I'm just gonna before we come back to it, I'm just gonna come back to you guys in the chat. I know it's just tensions are running high. Before guys, make sure you cast your vote. There's a vote there in the poll. Should Lindsay Hoyle go after tonight? Make your voices heard. 69% say yes, 12% say no, 19% are not sure. That's understandable if you're not 100% sure. As Kira for £5 super chat says, now you know why Scotland have disdain for Labour and just the Red Tories, says Alistair Keir. Thank you so much for that super chat. I understand. I even before today, I totally understand that, Keir. I really do. But thank you so much for that super chat. Dave McGuinness with a generous £5 super chat says, so much for the union. Classic shut up, drop back in your box. Yeah. It's like, here's the thing, guys. Like I mean, I'll be saying it in my videos and that, and you know, Labour they've really not helped themselves here. They really have not. But at the same time, I also understand that it was going to tear Labour apart. But at the same time, it's like, well, Keir, what were you supposed to do? And it's just, yeah, it's so infuriating what's happened tonight. So those who have just joined, Tories got it. Taser, good to see you. Alistair Keir, good to see you. Stephen Banker, good to see you. Is there anyone who I've not said hello to who's here? If I'm sure I did say hello. Scott, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well as well. Yeah, 69% so far. Yeah, it's pretty darn crazy. So Yeah, we've covered that one. Let me just... Is that the same one? I think that's the same. I think this is the same clip. Let me just confirm.
For that. Madam Deputy Speaker, if I have listened...
Yep, that is the same one we just listened to earlier. Former Defence Minister, this was 2 hours ago, Tobias Ell talks to Mark Davies following debate in the Commons. We'll come back to that one in a minute. Yep, the chaos. This
SNP and
this was from Sky Rigby a bit earlier.
MPs walking out of the Commons in protest at the Speaker selecting both Labour and government amendments. So this is all a very difficult situation, Beth. These astonishing scenes, a very difficult situation for the Speaker.
It is. Let's just, as I said, let's wind back a bit. What is going on in the streets of the country at the moment? We are seeing, as this war goes on, 137 days of conflict, increased protests, increased fracturing in communities and increased concerns about MP safety. Now, the Speaker would have argued that he was trying to not exacerbate those tensions by calling all these amendments, but the SNP and the Tories absolutely furious about it. There's talk about whether or not Lindsay Hoyle was coerced, but you know, talked to by Labour about his future position if he didn't call their amendment. There are complaints from MPs that the parliamentary process has been undermined. But
it's not the full speech, which is a shame. If Labour are to blame, I'll not be happy. However, again, I sense shenanigans here. I understand your feelings, Pagan, I really do. But Keir Starmer's got some explaining to do. Labour have got some explaining to do here because, while yes, the sword is going to fall on Lindsay Hoyle tonight, Labour have put this, made this issue as well. This was a few hours ago. Is this going to play? Hold on a second. Let me come out. Why are you not playing? There's no. Oh, that's a bit annoying. That's a bit annoying. I can't play that one. This. Where is it? So this is when Watchers of House Thomas turns to chaos. This was 6 hours ago. Turns to reaction of Speaker Lindsay Hoyle, allowing the government's and Labour government amendments. SNP Chip Wells have put forward a point of order for a fight on the point of an opposition day if it's going to be done like this.
If you want to, do it.
Now then, first,
by the way, I have not heard this one.
firstly, I should tell the House, in my opinion, the operation of standing order which governs the way amendments opposition.
So this was what the decision was going to be made. This was 6 hours ago here, guys. So this was quite a while ago now.
Motions are dealt with reflects an outdated approach, which restricts the operations, which can put the House. It is my intention to ask the Procedure Committee to consider the operation. I now call Brendan O'Hara to move the motion. Point of order.
I appreciate what you've outlined here, but I seek your advice because obviously I've taken advice from the clerks. This is the SNP's opposition day. Yep. And the purpose of an opposition day is for our party to have the ability to put forward our business. We've already had a significant delay to the start of this motion, which has significant interest to the extent we dropped our second motion, and now we're completely appear to be doing things in a way that's never been done before. Can I ask for your advice, Mr. Speaker, what is the point of an opposition day if it's going to be done like this?
And then, can I just say, I think you will want to vote at some point. Clapping isn't going to assist it. A point of order has been raised by the SNP Chief Whip. as I say, I've made a judgment on a precedent that's been done before. I have viewed it as that is my ruling, and I'm going to stand by the ruling, and I'm not taking any more pound towards Brendan O'Hara.
Let's just go. Let's switch things up, guys, for a moment. I will come back to the Twitter feed in a moment. This, let me make sure I get the right one. This is the live feed from The Guardian. So, SNP's motion and Labour amendments go through. The SNP's motion and Labour amendments have been approved without any division to be voted on. But it didn't matter because their Labour's one went through and SNP's after. This has just come up now. So Keir Starmer has accused the Tories and the SNP of choosing political gains over serious solutions, the Labour leader said. He said today was the chance for Parliament to unite and speak in one voice on the horrendous situation in Israel and Gaza. It was in that spirit that Labour put forward an amendment calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire, one that will last, that would require both sides to observe, that would demand hostages are returned, the aid that gets into Gaza, and said Israel has a right to be protected against a repeat of the 7th of October 7th attack, and crucially, that requires a roadmap for a two-state solution. Unfortunately, the Conservatives and the SNP decided to walk out hand in hand, refusing to vote on the serious matter, yet again choosing political games over serious solutions. There was nothing wrong with the SNP's amendments and motion. The problem is that he didn't want the wordings within the SNP's motion because he was scared of Benjamin Netanyahu and his future relationship that he's going to have with Israel. And that was the problem. This was I would say this is more political gains with Labour and the Conservatives. And yeah, I just think all three are it's just an absolute cock up, guys. But the SNP's motion was screwed, without a shadow of a doubt. Front bencher John Henry saying Liz Hoyle was doing the right thing. No, he was not doing the right thing. I'm not even gonna. It's even worth reading what you got to say. We've shown Westminster at the words a row about procedure with the Conservatives boycotting the votes. The SNP walked out. It wasn't supposed to be done like this. That's the problem. Today should have been a ceasefire and should have been about a ceasefire in Gaza. It's why the SNP brought forward our motion. Westminster blocked our chance at a straight vote due to the actions of the Speaker and Labour Party. We will continue to speak up to those suffering as a result of the conflict. SNP MP Pete Wilshire said Sir Lindsay Hoyle should resign as Common Speaker. The MPs for Perth and North Pembrokeshire told PA News yesterday, I think it's intolerable. It's really difficult to know how you can remain in the chair after what happened today. I know he came down, took responsibility and said sorry, but quite frankly it's not good enough. Nearly all of my colleagues have signed for the early day motion asking for him to go. And speaking to several Conservative colleagues this evening, I know that a great number of them have also signed that too. Hence by Mag Monk said that there was a motion put forward for him to be removed as well. Hemia Belgium, Chief Executive of the Action Aid UK charity, said we are extremely disappointed with the utter paralysing in Parliament this evening. Democracy is a precious commodity and should be treated as such. There is no democracy with the system that we have in place anyway, let alone what's been happening tonight. A great disservice has been done to the British people who expected their political parties and elected representatives to conduct a meaningful debate concerning an issue in which depends the lives of hundreds of thousands of Israeli hostages or hundreds of thousands of Gazans suffering in one of the most acute humanitarian crises we have seen in recent times. MPs know that over two-thirds of their constituency want an end to this war and an increase in humanitarian aid and the safe return of their hostages. It's time to put people's lives above politics. Well, the problem was everyone was more scared and concerned about their own damn politics, about their own bloody careers, than they were about the whole point of this motion in the first goddamn place. 29,000 Palestinians have died. More than 10,000 Palestinian children have died. Over 80% of people's of homes for the Palestinian people within that Gaza Strip has been left in rubble. Now we can keep banging on and on and on about Israel's right to defend itself and how horrendous what happened on October the 7th. And yes, we have said that on thousands of occasions. I don't think there's anyone here in the chat who doesn't agree with me that what happened on October the 7th was a heinous and horrendous act by Hamas. No one is arguing that. But it does not justify what Israel have done. It does not. 29,000 lives. And they want to go into Rafah, the last place in the Gaza Strip. The last place. What is it? 1.8 million people are in that last bit of area in the southern city of the Gaza Strip. Instead of compassion, common sense, and humility, and putting your conscience forward, we're trying to politically score points over each other because it's an election year, and it's fucking shameful. It is shameful. It's absolutely shameful on every front. Whether you're Conservative, Labour or an SNP, it has been an absolute shit day for democracy. Whatever democracy we have in this country. Caroline Lucas tweeting the once House Commons descended to fast. What an embarrassment. Get the Greens in there. Get the Greens in there at this point. To see the chaos in the House of Commons is really British politics at its lowest. It's disgracefully shameful.
Not only not a good day for the House of Commons, it's not a good day for the UK, it's not a good day for humanity. To see this chaos in the House of Commons, it's really British politics at its lowest. This is disgraceful and shameful that MPs are debating should they call for an immediate ceasefire after 100,000 Palestinians killed, maimed, injured, after 70% of their houses gone, after all of their health sector bombarded, all their education sector annihilated, and then the ICJ comes and says Israel is now officially on trial for genocide because the case against Israel for genocide is plausible, and then Westminster is still debating and politicking. MPs tonight have shown everybody they are defending and protecting their careers as opposed to defending and protecting children.
Now, and he's absolutely right. Now, I want to also be clear about something as well here, yeah? Yeah? Now, the argument have been from Labour, whether you agree or disagree, yeah, in the run-up to this, is that this was a set-up by the SNP to bring Labour down. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, and we can debate that all we want, but all three political parties should really be fighting to do everything and anything possible to stop what is happening over there. They really, really should. I'm just going to scroll up to say thank you for the super chat, Alistair Keir. That's really appreciated. General, it's a £2 super chat saying general election now so Scotland can get out. Yeah, we should have had. Yeah, I'm sick of waiting for a goddamn general election. I'm fed up of it. I really, really am. But whether or not it was a setup to take out Labour or not, I'm not going to go down that path. If it is, then Labour should have faced the music and faced the music in the right manner. But, you know, Labour's dithering over this as well, not been helpful. Let's not forget what Keir Starmer said to Nick Ferrari when the attacks happened on October 7th. That did not help his position whatsoever. Yeah, that did not help his position whatsoever. And Vladimir, and like I said at the start of this live stream, guys, Vladimir Putin has been laughing at all of this. I'm just going to look at this is Sky News' live feed. We've read that Sky political points. Okay, there's 24 minutes to go. Who has signed the motion of no confidence in the Speaker? We've just reported that 33 MPs have wasted little time in signing a no confidence motion into Lindsay Hoyle. Here is the full list of Conservatives. Oh, that's how many? What is that? 1, 2, 3. Karen Lee, 30p Lee in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. About 23 Conservative MPs roughly there. I'm not going to name them all. If you want to pause it and look at the names, you can do. But that's quite a lot there. And the SNPs here. Funny, there doesn't seem to be any Labour MPs here. It's funny that. Is that all the SNPs? I don't think that's all of them. That might increase over time, guys. That might increase over time. Can the speaker be removed on a chaotic night? Speaker of the House appears to be fighting for his role. He probably has as little as 24 hours to save his political I see 35 post. Yeah, 33 MPs signed a motion of no confidence. There'll be serious repercussions. I wanted to hear what Sam Coates had to say here. So, Sam Coates said here, we've just been hearing from Deputy Political Aid about what's just happened here. So let's just hear what he has to say on this, guys.
Well, let's bring in Sam Coates, Deputy Political Editor, and John Craig, our Chief Political Correspondent. Absolutely extraordinary scenes in the House of Commons. I mean, there is so much to unpick here. Firstly, we have Stephen Flynn coming, I guess, within a whisker of calling for the Speaker to go, Sam.
Politics looks broken tonight. You can't have looked at the last 70 minutes of total chaos and getting messages from people inside the voting lobbies, getting messages from MPs trying to work out what to do. I think they felt rudderless. I think they felt confused. I think they felt worried. I think that the spectacle of Britain's most senior politicians try to debate and vote on what's going on in the Middle East has, really put the Commons chamber to shame tonight. There are some very real consequences from what's just happened. Right now, the Speaker is fighting for his political life. It is not clear to me that Lindsay Hoyle survives this. It is not clear to me that Lindsay Hoyle thinks that Lindsay Hoyle can survive this. I don't know what you thought, Sophie. I thought that the Speaker of the House of Commons looked close to tears as he begged his fellow MPs to back him in the chair. He did not say he would continue. He said he would meet and consider his position further. It appears he has lost the confidence of the third biggest party in politics. It looks from the Leader of the House as if he may well have lost the confidence of the governing party. In those circumstances, you do not continue. Lindsay Hoyle has probably 24 hours to meet with the representatives of the major parties to remain in the Speaker's chair, or he is out, because he cannot continue in that way. Because at stake is the ability of all the different parties to have their voice in the Commons, and they think that was not upheld today, and they think that that is a big and possibly terminal problem for Lindsay Hoyle.
Well, we know that based off of what we've just seen on the live feed, that Lindsay Hoyle is a goner anyway. Yeah. Labour's amendments to the SNP's motion to calling for a ceasefire had been approved by the Commons. It sends the SNP's motion through as amended. And this is the problem here. This is the problem here. It was supposed to be the SNP's motion, but the opposition of Labour's amendment overriding SNP's motion with their amendments is what's the problem in terms of politics. But taking aside the politics here, rather than talking about a very serious situation about people's lives, we're politicking over the phrasing and the wordings of how it should be said. It's a absolute effing shit show. Where I'm going to I just want to there's supposed to be I want to share this, guys, as well, because this is what we were supposed to be looking at tonight. Powerful speeches and compelling arguments of why we need a ceasefire. Leah Moran, who some of you may know who has deep connections to this, and I wanted to share this here to remember before all this horrible thing was kicking off. I haven't listened to this, but I really wanted to share this is what it was supposed to be about tonight. These debates and on what is the best way to handle the situation from Britain's point of view over there.
I am speechless with the way this debate began, actually. as this House knows, there has been scant opportunity for me to be able to tell the story, not just of my family or the hundreds in the church that they are in northern Gaza, but the story of Palestinians on the ground and indeed those who have lost people in the horrendous attacks on October the 7th, whether it be their murder or their abduction. And so I'm grateful that we've got this opportunity. And as we've got hours of debate in front of us, my first ask of anyone who comes after me is to please hold all those people in their hearts as they say what they say. I believe sincerely that this House is moving towards a right position, and I'll explain what I think that is in a moment.
If only. That's pretty disheartening to hear, considering this was 5 hours ago.
But to suggest that this House is in some way against a ceasefire, and I would hope an immediate one, however semantics wants to play out in the votes later, can we please try and send a message to the Palestinian people perishing in their tens of thousands on the ground in particular, and to those hostage families, that fundamentally we need this to stop now. Yes. And I don't care what we call it. But as I look across and looked across, thinking of my family still there in that church in northern Gaza, with no food, with no water, with no way of getting down to the south, even if they could cross at Rafah with the 1.5 million people who are there, without an immediate ceasefire, they and other families who are trapped can't achieve anything. And that's even before we think of if they left, if they'd be allowed to come back, or if they left, would there be a political solution? That horizon, that political horizon, is everything. Without it, without a two-state solution on 67 borders, we are condemning both Israelis and Palestinians to reliving this nightmare over and over and over again. Correct. And I would ask, if there's one message that we are sending Netanyahu and Hamas today, is that we will not accept that.
It was such a great speech. It is such a great speech. And I remember that when she first shared the stories about her family in Gaza and how moving that was. And it's so disheartening, guys, it's so disheartening for such a great speech and for what happened later on. It really, really is. This is comparisons to Northern Ireland here from Claire Hannah here. Let's hear what she had to say, guys.
Are watching in desperation and distress, and they feel powerless to the point of complicity. That's not the main issue here, but it has consequences for their faith in politics and in international law, and I want to give voice to it. Those feelings of dread people feel at the images on their screens and that are etched permanently in their minds. I feel that way. I look at my 6-year-old, sweet, smiling, innocent daughter, and I see a 6-year-old trapped in a car for days with nobody listening to her cries, and the bodies of all the people she loved, and those stories will never leave people. And worse again, people who express basic human emotions and solidarity with people who face the unimaginable are being met with slurs and distortions and being smeared as being pro-Hamas and anti-Semitic slurs that were made in this chamber just a few moments ago. Like most of my constituents, I stand in full solidarity with the victims of the wicked Hamas attacks of the 7th of October. They were vile and indefensible and carried out by a cynical organisation who have not allowed the people of Gaza to vote for a generation, but they do not justify the horrors which have followed. I defend Israel's right to exist, and I stand in solidarity with Jewish people here and around the world. That includes those standing against the far-right Netanyahu government throughout the last summer and his excesses. He is a man who, in word and deed, has repudiated the two-state solution that many of us in this chamber advocate, and which genuinely is the only possible outcome for that region that doesn't condemn them to years of this nightmare. Comparisons between the Middle East and Northern Ireland are shallow, and I avoid making them, but the one that can be learned is that the first step is stopping the killing. Those who are asking for a permanent solution, a permanent ceasefire, are setting an impossibly high bar. Even in Northern Ireland, when paramilitaries were dragged to that point, it took a decade for those ceasefires to be made permanent. We need to stop the bombs, we need to stop the rockets, we need to release the hostages, and we need to release the aid, and then we need to work every day to make that sustainable. Only politics can do that. There's no military solution here, there never was. I don't really care which amendment gets through tonight. I don't care what form of words it is, so long as this House sends a clear message and states an end to this slaughter and a pathway to a just and lasting settlement and international momentum towards that.
Very nice speech there. Like, not, you know, and I think that, you know, you put that in perspective of what she's saying there about, a permanent ceasefire. You know, my position is, I just want I've said this on numerous occasions, that my position is that I want the bloodshed to stop, guys. I want the bloodshed to stop. I want people to stop dying. That's what I've always said. It's always been what I've said with regards to this situation. I'm just going to refresh something here while they have come up. And while I always have said that what I want is, I want the bloodshed to stop, there is the question of, how do we get to a ceasefire? How do we get to a point where it can be done? Now, I've said that one of the biggest sticking points is Benjamin Netanyahu, and I know a lot of people have said there's this Israeli government, and they are being weaponized, and I'm going to use that word, weaponized, allegedly, to the next generation of Israelis within the country to hate Palestinians, allegedly. I'm going to stress that word, with the education that's being put upon them based on what I have seen online, which doesn't give me much comfort. And what kind of angers me is that it's not just what's happening here, it's what's happening over in America, when one of the most powerful people on the planet, in President Biden, actually has some leverage and into doing something about this. It's not doing anything. We have other Western nations which are not doing anywhere near enough either when it comes to this. While at the same time, while all this is going on, guys, we had the disgusting, and I'm gonna be very, or maybe I just probably will swear here. This what happened with the UNRWA, the aid that they are providing to those within the Gaza Strip, the work that they are doing, their funding taken away by the United States, by the UK, by other Western nations, on something which has no evidence whatsoever, based on allegedly 12 people out of, 33,000 workers from the UNRWA working in there to help and aid the Palestinian people in there. 12 of them allegedly were conspired to working with Hamas in the October 7th attack. Yet at this time of recording, and you guys can tell me in the live chat if evidence has come alight by Israel, because as far as I'm concerned, there has been no evidence to support that. They have claimed that Israel have accused the UNRWA of conspiring to work with them, with no evidence to support it. And just because Israel have said it, Western nations have pulled funding from them. So even more people in the Gaza Strip are now dying as a result, because 12 people have lost their role, and now they're going to have even less funding, which is putting us even into more of this associated with committed acts of genocide. Ourselves, allegedly, the US. It just makes me sick to my stomach. Here are some tweets as well, but roughly an hour ago. Beth Rigby saying, Flynn tells me the Speaker stitched up by Labour and asked why Starmer had audience with the Speaker when he did not. Question: why? Then this is a great tweet here from Beth Rigby. I like to ask, why didn't he have a speak? He had these get to speak. You can sense, I sense something there. Jess Phillips comes out of the chamber and tells me she was going to vote for both the SNP and Labour amendments. It's a disgrace. How can we expect people to lay down arms? We can't lay down words. Nicola Sturgeon there saying the House of Commons reduced itself to a farce because even on an issue as serious as the situation in Gaza, the Westminster establishment can't bring itself to rise above hostility to the SNP. Proud of my SNP colleagues, but deeply depressed by the state of UK democracy. I'm going to pull out the enter the poll, guys. I just want to say thank you everyone who has cast their vote on the poll, asking whether or not should Lindsay Hoyle go after tonight. We had 27 votes. Thank you everyone who did vote. 66% of you said yes. 18% of you were not sure. 14% of you said no. 27 people altogether. If you did not vote, it's fine. There will always be more votes for polls in future. But I just want to say thank you everyone who casted their vote. I'm going to scroll up and just give a bit of leeway to some of you guys in the chat, because I haven't caught up with too many of you guys in the chat, so I do apologise if I've missed some of you guys in the chat, because it's obviously been a very heated debate tonight, understandably so. Scottish Labour thrown under a bus after calling for a ceasefire as well. Yep, Scottish Labour were thrown under a bus as well. Absolutely, David. Absolutely, they were thrown under a bus on this as well. That's another thing. Disgraceful. Chatty Rat said what Labour did was appalling. There are 20 opposition days per list, 17 for Labour and 3 for SNPs. Labour stole of the SNP's opposition day by their actions insulting the people of Scotland. It certainly does look that way. No, it was a ceasefire for humanity's sake, says the Keir. Yeah, you guys know, those of you who know me and been following me, you guys know how I feel about what's happening over there. Load of shite, Reganelite, Labour conspiracy, aka Phil Morehouse. Need a break. Don't blame you for saying that. I wonder how much as the number of Scottish independent supporters in Scotland have increased these minutes. Oh, I imagine a lot of them will be. It will all be the SNP's fault. Scotland, Labour, SN field of BS. Yeah, it's not. I can't. How can this be the SNP's fault when they're the ones who brought the motion in the first place? I'm like, they're the ones who brought the emotion up in the first place. Like, I'm trying to understand how this is the SNP's fault. Their motion became null and void. So how is it their fault? Like, for them, their motion was being forcibly amended by Labour's motion. And that wasn't right. The way the system is just pathetic. It really, really is pathetic. A debate on Gaza and Gaza is forgotten. Politics being politics, says Scott. Absolutely, yeah. It was supposed to be a motion for the SNP, Duke. I'm not going to go out of my way and say that it was the SNP's fault. No, I'm not going to accept that premise. Because the reason why is because they weren't allowed to vote on their motion, and that was the problem. That was the problem, guys. If they all were allowed to have their if the SNP were allowed to have their motion, and then Labour would have their motion after, then it'd be a different story. But for the SNP motion to be for Labour's motion to override the SNP's motion, that's not fair. That's not democratic in any way, shape, or form. You can't argue that. Where is it? Let me just show you. Where is that point? Oh, we looked at it. Because it was going to override their point. That was the problem. That was the problem. Who replaces Hoyle is a pure circus in Westminster. It's going to be a circus, that's for sure. Labour's lair was good, but in my opinion, not this lot. Yeah, what's happening here is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. No one listening. Yeah, I think Labour government will be okay once in. It's just this crap going on yet to get in. I'm clutching at straws on Labour. I am clutching on straws, if I'm honest. I've covered so many stories where Labour have done U-turns on things. Everyone just keeps saying it's going to be all right when Labour come in, but my God, they're making it difficult to convince some people, especially on this. Especially on this. I've talked with people that fled Ukraine, a little girl in the supermarket telling their mum that there were no noises here. Noises were bullets. Imagine the kids in Gaza right now. I don't want to imagine... What exactly is a call for a ceasefire supposed to do, materially speaking? So we've had this. I've had this discussion. I know exactly where you're coming from with that pagan, and this is what Phil from A Different Bias has always made. There's no point calling for one because it won't make a difference what's happening over there. And my honest answer to you is he's right. It's not going to make a difference over there. But what you're going to do is you're going to sleep a little bit better at night on your conscience, knowing that you voted for the right. You voted for what you believe was right. You voted for what you believe was right. You wanted justice. That you want the violence to stop. And that Israel should be condemned for the Israeli government. Specifically, I'm not going to say Israel, but the government should be condemned for the way they are handling this. It's so crazy. It's so crazy, guys. It's so crazy. I 100% agree that stopping arms to Israel... I'm surprised. That's one thing, Pagan, I agree with. The arms sales to Israel. It infuriates me that all of them don't mention that. None of the parties mention that. It's funny that they don't seem to mention that. That I agree with. To be fair, SNP were baiting Labour, not saying what has happened is right. There definitely was that bait. But problem is Labour have to convince most people, not just a very few. But they are struggling. I mean, at the moment, I have said this. I said this before tonight, and I said this previously before the green U-turn, and that I've said this all before, guys. Is that the polls are always going to narrow, regardless of how people feel about Labour, and I still believe the polls will narrow. Well, regardless of what I still think the polls will narrow. People will still vote Conservative. People will still vote Reform. People will vote Lib Dem and Green rather than vote Labour, because there will be people out there. People will be out there. And the right wing are going to smell blood. I can just see the likes of the Daily Mail and Express saying Labour sabotage SNP or something, you know, along those lines. I know tensions are high, guys. I know tensions are high. But can we all agree that we just want the bloodshed to stop at least? You know. Duke, I hope you've not been blocking people in my chat there. I hope you haven't. I understand things are high. I don't know who's blocking who. But can we try and be, guys? Can we try and just? I know tensions are high right now, but can, you know, but can we just take a breath or two on this, okay? Let's. I wish I had a funny video for you guys. I really wish I did, but I've been trying to get my head around all this. Just a recent update from Sky News here. Charities hit out at the upper paralysing government. Charities hit out at MPs after the debate in Gaza ceasefire motion descended to chaos. Hamia Belgian CEO of Action Aid UK, says the charity is extremely disappointed to see the utter paralysing Parliament this evening. She said democracy is a perilous commodity and should be treated as such. A great disservice has been done to the British people, who expected their political parties and elected representatives to conduct a meaningful debate concerning an issue on which depends the lives of over 100 Israeli hostages and hundreds of thousands of Gazans suffering one of the most acute humanitarian crises that we have seen in recent times. She called on the MPs to act with their consciousness for the sake of humanity and to somehow find a way to move forward with the desperate need for a ceasefire. Helen McKinnon, CEO of CARE International UK, echoed those sentiments, saying, "It's dismay at the political theatre that we are witnessing in the House of Commons. Arguments over parliamentary procedures, doing nothing to assist the people of Gaza," she said, "and they will suffer without a ceasefire. As our staff and partners in Gaza have told me during a visit to the West Bank this week, with each passing day, death, disease and hunger increase." She called on the Foreign Secretary, Lord David Cameron, will do everything in his power to help stop the humanitarian catastrophe that we are watching. The fighting must stop, the flow of aid must increase, all hostilities must be released, and all parties of this conflict must abide by international humanitarian law. Yeah, what happened in Westminster is definitely really causing a lot of tension in the chat, Scott. I do agree with that. I mean, tensions are just running high, without a shadow of doubt. Let's just see if there's been an update on here. Yeah, we're not going to listen to Lindsay Hoyle again. I was thinking whether or not to cover. I'm just going to, guys, see. Before we go, I'm going to see if I can find a funny video for us, guys, because I think we need to find something to de-escalate things a little bit. Sorry, I knew things were going to get heated for us, and it's a very sad day for democracy. It's a very sad day, indeed, and it's a pretty shitty situation here. Oh, please tell me that is who I think it is. Okay. So I've got. Oh, that's very good. Okay, guys. I wasn't sure how long we were going to go, but I think I'm going to call it here, just because of how tensions have been. Guys, just before you go, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for all your comments, your everyone for their super chats. Thank you everyone who did conduct in the poll. I know it is a very difficult day. It's a very sad day. I think politicians let us down tonight. Instead of talking about uniting and wanting to stop what's happening over in the Middle East, instead we were debating each other over point scoring and political points because of an election year, and it's quite disheartening to say the least. And I think all three political parties have got a lot to process, a lot of thoughts to process. I think Labour and Keir Starmer have some questions to answer. I think I think the Conservatives may have played some dodgy hands. It's entirely possible that the SNP may have set Labour up. But one thing is for certain is that today was supposed to be about staying. We support the people of Palestine. We want the fighting to stop. We want the arms to be laid down. We want hostages on both sides to be released, and we want peace and prosperity in the Middle East. That's what we want. I want that there, and I'm sure you guys in the chat want that too. How we get there is always something we will always continue to discuss, but I hope you're all in agreement with me on that. Just before you guys go, if you can, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel, because it really does help and support me, guys. I would like to get to 1,000 subscribers before March the 16th, which will be the full 1 year anniversary since I started this YouTube channel officially. If that can be done. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Help me get over that line. It would be greatly appreciated. If you want to as well, you can financially support me by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. I know I haven't answered some of the members' comments in the chat in some of my videos today. I will chase them up. If not tonight, tomorrow, I will chase them up. Don't you worry. I always respond. If you are a YouTube member, whether it's a corporal or enforcer, your comments always get a response from me on any of my videos. And if you are a $2.99 member, you get early access to my content, which I'm sure you guys have already seen as well. That has dropped in the members, which will be published tomorrow and the following day there. So I've got one more video, guys. I've got a funny video. Don't worry, it's a guy from Portsmouth, so don't run away just yet. I just want to say thank you, David McGuinness, for that £5 super chat. Yeah, you handled the subject well and balanced well. Do that. I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can. I know it's difficult, guys. I know it's difficult, because I want to make this clear, guys. I don't hate Labour. I don't have a vendetta against Labour. I want a Labour to do what is best for the country. And I know they're not perfect, and I know that there are problems with Labour. And I've said this in other videos, but we need to get rid of the Tories. We do need to get rid of the Tories. But that doesn't mean that I ain't gonna be kicking Labour's backside whenever I feel like kicking them. I'm not a Labour person, as you guys know, but one thing I think everyone here can agree with me in the chat: we effing hate the Tories and we want them gone. And the sooner that we have a flight to Rwanda, let's put all the Conservative MPs on there, ship them off so that they never come back. Tories don't get tasered. Thank you for that £5 super chat. That's extremely kind of you as well. Thank you very much. So guys, again, thank you so much for coming along. Take care. De-stress, take a deep breath, have a bath or something to de-stress yourselves or something, guys. I'm not going to be doing an after chat. I was going to do a film night. I'm not going to do that either. Instead, actually, you know what? I'm just going to switch off and take it easy after tonight because it has been a bit heated. So I encourage you all to do the same. Just switch off from politics after this, guys. Go do something else, and then tomorrow we'll get back on the grind again. As always, Alistair Key with a £2 super chat. Excellent tonight. Here's some funds. Thank you, Alistair Key. You've been very generous tonight. Thank you. So, guys, just before you go, let's hear from our good friend Colin from Portsmouth. This video dropped today. I managed to dig this up while I was talking to you guys. Foreign care workers should look after our own families, not their own.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
Well done, Tom Cleverley.
Tom Cleverley, James Cleverley. Tom Cleverley played for Watford, Colin.
Oh, names are fluid, Anthony.
Right,
Grant
yeah.
Shapps had 7 of them.
True.
Well done, James Cleverley, for sacking people for saying how bad things are. And well done for banning overseas care workers from bringing their families with them while they work here. Cleverley by name, James by nature.
It seems like another way of saying, we want people here to help us, but we don't want them to be human, Colin.
Oh, don't be soft. They're here to care for our elderly and sick, not their own. The last thing you want is for your carer to say, oh, sorry, I can only look after you until 5. I've got to make my 8-year-old's dinner. Let someone else make their dinner 1,000 miles away. That's how it should be. And if you have a family after coming here, we should deport them too. That shows a lack of focus.
You're disincentivising them from coming, Colin. That's the problem.
Well, they can't have been that keen to come if they thought to have families before this rule was invented. And how about this idea? If you're a carer, then train up your 10-year-old to care as well. Free labour for the NHS is win-win. Have that one for free, Cleverly. Anyway, mate, thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. Love to the family.
Sometimes as a nation, I think we're too kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might be a bit too kind. Yep. Sorry guys, I never showed them today, but Ollie is here. Obviously, Ollie, understandably, is very furious with what's been happening today. The orb and the lava lamp are there in all its glory, so just wanted to get them on the live stream for you guys. So apologies for not showing them before, but guys, thanks again for coming. Thanks so much for support, your comments and all that stuff, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.